everybody, and welcome to the Weekly Scopes from the 12th to the 18th of January. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's Weekly Scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I, formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year. And Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates. So every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra-parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination. Either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contra-parallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contra-parallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contra-parallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contra-parallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contra-parallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contra-parallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contra-parallels and parallels are. So this week we've got a few aspects governing us, controlling us, affecting us, influencing us. So yeah, Venus makes a contra-parallel to Chiron. This entered on the 8th of January and is exact on the 12th of January, and leaves us on the 16th of January, and Venus is in Aquarius and Chiron is in Pisces. Mars makes a semi-square to Jupiter. Mars is in Cancer and Jupiter is in Taurus, and this entered on the 10th of January, is exact on the 14th of January, and leaves us on the 17th of January. Then Venus makes a parallel to Saturn. This entered on the 9th of January, is exact on the 14th of January, and leaves on the 19th of January. And Venus is in Aquarius and Saturn is in Aquarius as well. So yeah, Venus's contra-parallel to Chiron encourages us to build psychological, spiritual, emotional needs, or to look after our emotional, psychological, spiritual health. It supports us in doing that's a good thing, sorts of personal development, therapy, talking with others, reflecting our shadow work in a way as well, pushing us to address unresolved issues and create deeper connections and understandings in relationships. And it just allows us to be more open-minded, and it pushes us to embrace unconventional approaches in matters of the heart, and it can sort of bring to the surface feelings of insecurity or inadequacy regarding how we express love or seek validation. And in terms of this use, it's ideal for therapeutic ways, whether it's through professional help or intimate conversations with other ones. Spiritually, it serves as a reminder that healing is a continuous journey, intertwined with the energies of compassion and empathy, and that sort of comes from Chiron, Pisces. And psychologically, it can just feel more sensitive in our mission kind of dynamics world and feelings towards others as well. So it's good to practice self-care, open communication, active listening, walking away and maintaining boundaries and respecting other people's boundaries to avoid being overwhelmed causing too much tension. It wants us to really think about the intricate, connected dance between being vulnerable and strength. A lot of the time in our culture, you think being vulnerable is not strength, but from my own experience, being vulnerable can give us strength. And we know the things that we're not aware of control us, as the late and great Anthony DeMello said, and so when we're numbing ourselves from ourselves, we're not aware, and these things have to come out, and so they often come out subconsciously, and because we don't think we're acting autopilot, we often say and do things we come to regret. So it wants us to really realise that being vulnerable with yourself, at least with yourself, you don't need to be vulnerable with another human being. Start with yourself and maybe a higher power, right, that you believe in if you want to, but being honest with yourself is a great experience, and this energy allows you to be illuminated, to understand, to open up to your psychological and emotional needs, and be open to the transformative power of self-love, awareness, forgiveness, understanding and management, as well as healing and acceptance. So Mars makes a similar square to Jupiter, so this kind of lights up our ambition and pushes us to go after our goals with increased passion, motivation and enthusiasm. And as I said, Mars is retrograde in Cancer right now, so it just allows us to be more assertive, but we just need to watch out, for the passive aggression of this energy strength inward as well. But it's good to nurture ourselves and others, and create security and emotional connectivity with ourselves and others. The semi-square brings tension, adding to the overconfidence and impulsiveness that can happen this week, that can lead to unnecessary conflict and hurting people or being hurt by people. So just try and give grace, try and understand, and try and chill out a bit. And I don't want to say keep the peace, I want to say try and think about what you say and do, and make sure you can bear the consequences, because we've all got different tolerance levels, right? So yeah, we can find ourselves being pulled in different directions between the desire to take initiative and the need for patience and careful planning. And the best use of this energy lies in finding the balance between action and reflection, and it's a potent time for setting intentions and strategizing next steps, especially in our sort of like financial domestic ventures. Spiritually, it encourages us to examine how our ambitions align with our deeper values, reminding us that genuine growth often requires nurturing the foundations of your life. Psychologically, it allows us to uncover hidden motivations behind our ambitions, as the assertive energy of Mars pushes us to confront any internal conflicts regarding our desires and aspirations. And by embracing this energy, we can really just work on our personal growth this week. So Venus' parallel to Saturn again allows us to have more stability this week and to tap into the depths of our emotions as well, and it can strengthen our commitment to ourselves, our personal daily development journey, or to our relationships, and also it can make us more innovative and unconventional in our expressions of affection. And Saturn's influence here instills a sense of responsibility and accountability, so together we can foster an environment where we can build solid foundations in our connections, emphasizing loyalty and authenticity. But negatively, this energy can sort of add limitation to our week and restriction, particularly in expressions of our love, and this energy may challenge us to confront our fears, and especially those fears that we have surrounding our intimacy, lack of being able to give it or receive it, and also our sense of self-worth. And the best use of this transit energy is by using the energy of Venus and Saturn to create meaningful and long-lasting relationships, while also maintaining your own individuality and who you are as a person. Spiritually and psychologically, it serves as a reminder to appreciate the balance between freedom and commitment, and also it can sort of like help us explore the deeper truths about our emotional world, pushing us to release any outdated beliefs that get in the way of our personal growth. So, by taking this time out this week to reflect on the nature of love, responsibility, and self-acceptance, you can really gain insights into relationships and transformative healing energy in abundance this week, and this can help us live or create a more authentic existence where we begin with self-love, forgiveness, understanding, respect, care, and honesty, honouring both our strengths and weaknesses, our vulnerabilities and our strength. So now I'm just going to talk about what content creators can talk about, or what you can really home in terms of questions you can ask yourself, or tools or podcasts you can seek out to listen to this week. So, this week's themes are centred around healing in relationships. So our psychological, emotional, spiritual roots can be brought to the surface, especially in our socialising with others, or our partners or family, whatever. So, you can really dig into the importance of emotional vulnerability, as I said, the process of forgiveness, giving tips and resources and how we can do that, or finding resources that can help you centre and let you know, looking at tools that can help you understand and work with and heal from and manage traumas in current relationships or past relationships, seeking out podcasts or talking about stories where people have transformed from maybe coercive relationships, or by living to the expectations of their family, friends and lovers, to letting go and daring to be who they truly are, and also talking about how we can build more self-love and nurture into our life, and how this can give us powerful insights, and it encourages us to embrace our imperfections and work towards healing. And Mars' semi-square to Jupiter kind of like brings a surge of ambition and desire for growth, what can also lead to impulsive decisions or restraint too much, so extending themselves. So just seeking out tools or that can help you avoid burnout. Content creators and talk about tools that can help people make less impulsive decisions and to reduce their burnout, and giving tips on how they can look after their overall well-being as well. Also finding out things that can help you set goals and organise this week, as well as getting real about your personal limits and what are you real and what are your imposed ones, for not wanting to leave your comfort zone, or just being scared, and giving yourself grace and love for the fact that all of us humans experience fear, and it can be pretty useful. It can save our lives in a lot of instances, so that's not a bad thing, but it can be quite destructive. It can get in the way, it can be a hindrance when it stops us from enjoying life, living life and stuff, because what I realise, you can be anxious and depressed and still be happy, and that's not said in a blasé way, talking as a light, I've struggled with mental health all my life, so I've been through all the stages where I just didn't want to be there, or so trigger warning to the stages where now I accept that, just like we have night and day, we can sometimes have these moods in our inner psyche, but that doesn't mean we can't figure out ways to manage them, channel it into creativity or something that's our passion. It's not always a bad thing, it's not always doom and gloom as what we can come to believe, and suffer from anxiety, mental health issues and other stuff as well. So seeking out things that can help you be mindful about your goals and give you strategies for reaching your goals. Also content creators, or you can seek out resources that really highlight the importance of patience and perseverance and getting up after each failure in the face of our desires for rapid progress, and just talking about how you can become more responsible in your personal life, in your relationships, and commitment to looking after your personal development, and also just thinking about your long-term goals and partnerships as well, and talking about how important trust and honesty is, and the building of solid foundation in our life as well. So yeah, this week the focus is on love, healing, ambition and responsibility, personal responsibility and responsibility to our careers, our relationships, our families and so forth, and looking at in particular where we are taking responsibilities which are our own. Sometimes family members or other people we need to care about, but I mean in terms of sometimes we try and hold ourselves responsible for things that only other people control, So yeah, that's the main energy of this week. Now I'm just going to go through the daily energies that are going to amplify or decrease these energies. So yeah, so on the 12th of January, Venus makes its exact contra-parallel at 1:45, and I talked about this already. So Mars makes its exact trine to Neptune at 9:16 p.m. and lasts for the next couple of days. So Mars' trine to Neptune allows us to have creative energy this week, to be intuitive, to be creative, to do things that really nurture our spiritual, emotional and psychological growth. It wants us to take action on our dreams, mixing our ambition with a sense of purpose, doing things to soothe ourselves in healthy ways. If you are going to engage in psychic exploration, making sure you do it in a grounded way, in a step-by-step way. Don't be like, everyone else in social media is doing telekinesis and all of this. Remember, your journey is your own. It's not a competition. It's about finding what spirituality and life means to you instead of following other people's definition of it. So yeah, this energy allows us to really do the things that resonate with our values and our true needs right now, building our compassion and empathy, and it allows us to uplift ourselves and others around us if we choose to as well, and just allowing ourselves to have emotional insights and creative breakthroughs. This is what this energy brings to the week. So on the 13th of January, the Sun makes a trine to Uranus, and this is exact at 8:14 a.m. and the Sun's in the constellation of Sagittarius and Uranus is in Aries. The moon void of course starts at 10:27 and there's a full moon at 10:27 in between Gemini and Cancer, and then the moon goes into Cancer at 10:50 p.m. just after the moment of the full moon is at that point, So yeah, the Sun's trine to Uranus allows us to be more excited about life, more innovative, and more open to new perspectives and beliefs, and breaking free from unconventional routines. It allows us to explore, opportunities for change, and it wants us to be more spontaneous and to trust in our instincts. It's an ideal time to experiment, as the harmony between these two sort of the Sun and Uranus allows us to have breakthroughs and increases our ability to think outside of the box. The moon void, of course, just before the full moon in Gemini can heighten our emotional awareness and clarity, and it allows us and supports us with our self-reflection. And the full moon energy just allows us to share our ideas with others, just if we really want to, or to let go of the things that we want to let go of. The moon in Cancer again in the next 3 days allows us, supports us this week, finding emotional connection with ourselves and others. If we really want to, bringing the focus back on own family, personal well-being, understanding, and we can use the intellectual energies of Gemini with the emotional depth of Cancer to align our thoughts and feelings, and this can be a good atmosphere for personal growth and nurturing ourselves and others. So on the 14th of January, the Sun enters Capricorn at 3:26 a.m. Mars makes a semi-square to Jupiter. This is exact at 10 minutes past midnight, and Mars is in the constellation of Cancer and Jupiter is in Taurus. Mercury makes a sister quadrant to Uranus, and this is exact at 4:42 a.m. today, and Mercury is in Sagittarius and Uranus is in Aries. Venus makes a quintile to Uranus and lies in a subtle energy, so this allows us to do the work from the inside out, and Venus is in Aquarius and Uranus is in Aries, and Venus makes a parallel to Saturn, and Venus is in the constellation of Aquarius, and Saturn is also in Aquarius as well, and I talked about this aspect at the beginning of the week. And Venus makes a sister quadrant to Mars, and this is exact at 3:07, 7 minutes past 3 today, and Venus makes a square to Jupiter, and this is exact at 7:48 today, and all of these aspects last for the next couple of days. So Mars' semi-square allows us to go after what we want, but we can sort of it adds to the restlessness and frustration of the week. It wants us to be productive and supports us in taking action on our goals, and can help us sort of like navigate the feelings of being overwhelmed if we take time out to make a plan and to think before we react and act. It really wants us to set realistic goals and plans for a future that align with our longer term visions, and the Sun in Capricorn supports this as well for the next month, as it provides the discipline, the responsibility and the vibrational energy level to help us follow through on our dreams. And Mercury sister quadrant to Uranus can lead to unexpected insights, but we have to be cautious of our impulsive decisions that can come up from erratic thinking. And Venus's quintile to Uranus can spark unique connections or make us have innovative ideas in our relationships, and it helps us to be more stable and look for commitment in our personal affairs and personal life, supporting that. But Venus is square to Jupiter adds to the push and pull of this week between being overindulgent, overspending, enjoying. It can be Christmas still for some of you, we're still only on the 12th of January, or we can just be having too much excitement and doing things to excess. So by using the creative potential of these alignments and balancing our desires with moderation and with careful planning and reflection, we can really navigate this energy this week. So on the 15th of January, the moon enters void of course at 6:59, and that's all that happens. So on the 16th of January, the Sun makes an opposition to Mars, and the Sun's in Capricorn and Mars is in Cancer retrograde, and is at 2:39 a.m. today. And the moon enters Leo at 5:47 a.m. Then Mercury makes a conquest to Jupiter at 12:51 p.m. and Mercury is in Sagittarius and Jupiter is in Taurus. And the Sun makes a sister quadrant to Jupiter, and the Sun's in Capricorn and Jupiter's in Taurus as well. So the Sun's opposition to Mars adds to the conflict and the push and pull between our desires and external demands right now. You may be like, I just want to do my own thing, and for some of you, and this is good, but for others it could get you in trouble. So make sure you're not breaking the rules and you're doing it in, I don't want to say a polite way, but you're doing it in a way that causes the least tension possible. And this energy should really be channeled into things that are productive, and it's really important that we remain open to compromising with others, and so we can navigate any friction that we sort of like encounter, and just being open to newness. And the moon in Leo helps us to be more creative and express ourselves, and encourages us to embrace our individuality and share our ideas confidently with others. And Mercury's conquest to Jupiter wants us to think about the ways that we think is productive for your lifestyle, for your relationships. Is the way you do things really effective, or what do you need to tweak, that sort of things. And it just helps us to focus on thinking about the bigger picture, but also taking into account the practical considerations as well. And the Sun's sister quadrant to Jupiter allows us to be more overconfident, so adding to this energy. We just have to watch out for burnout and doing too much and thinking that we can take on the world, which you can, but we have to allow the time to do it step by step. So remember to stay grounded as you go after your goals, and consider the bigger implications of your choices and actions. And it encourages you to kind of like balance ambition with a thoughtful approach, and by doing this we can make the most of today's energies. So on the 17th of January, the Sun makes a sextile to Neptune, the Moon enters its disseminating phase, and the Moon board of course starts at 11:43 am. So the Sun sextile to Neptune happens when the Sun's in Capricorn, Neptune's in Pisces, is that, as I said, at 11:20, and that's this for the next couple of days. So it has to be able to be imaginative this week, and it's a good energy for kind of artistic creative expression and a deeper connection with our inner self. It's a great energy to use for creative activities and spiritual exploration, and it just encourages us to trust our instincts, allowing us to navigate situations with a sense of grace and compassion, and really allowing ourselves to explore things like yoga, meditation, tai chi, dancing, singing, gaming, screaming. There's something that makes you feel like it's giving you an outlet for your energy at this time. Channel it into that activity. The disseminating moon allows us to share insights and experiences with others, and it encourages us to communicate our newfound perspectives and ideas with others, and it's a great energy for working with others and understanding others. So yeah, we can feel inspired to teach us our knowledge, and it kind of amplifies and increases the sense of connection and synergy with those around you, and also with the different personality traits within you as well. But also we need to watch out for being mindful of your emotional boundaries and other people's as well. As I said earlier, you can overstep them, and secrets could come out in public serving, and this can require like a delicate kind of like balance, because you may overshare with us or something like that, and it's a great energy to share with others and to kind of like build a deeper sense of community. But also be careful about what you do share, and make sure if it's something that's not your own, you have permission to share, and be gentle with yourself and others if your secrets are filled in. Just even if you go through go through a hard time this week, and it may seem like all is lost, but just try and be gentle with yourself, so you've got tools to help you, and just try and calm down and relax if you find yourself in a trying situation. So on the 18th of January, the Moon enters Virgo at 3:59 PM, and the Sun makes a sextile to the Moon's nuclear at 11:27 PM, and the Sun's in the constellation of Capricorn, and the Moon's nuclear is in Pisces. So the Moon in Virgo, to finish off the week, allows us to be practical, to organise, to focus on detail-orientated tasks, and it allows for a deeper examination of our daily routines and habits, and it allows us to take the time to declutter our physical space or streamline our schedules as well, and it's a good moment for self-improvement, and whether this is like looking after your health and diet, increasing your skills in terms of career or personal skills, or restarting or starting a hobby, or attending to responsibilities that you may have overlooked before. So yeah, it's a good entity to start to plan things with. The sunset starting to improve again allows us to align our actions and thoughts with our longer term goals, and tapping that energy to gain insight into our personal growth, what's needed for that, and our relationship growth, what's needed for that as well. So we can also find it easier to connect with others, people that share our vision, our values, and we can create friendships that can push us forward into newness. So the best use of today's energy is to set intentions for the future and take proactive steps towards reaching your goals. So yeah, that's the end of this week's Scopes. I'm Amani, your wholistic astrological love coach. Thanks for listening, and yeah, that's the end of the weekly Scopes from the 12th to the 18th of January.